So I just ran into a pretty convincing scam, one of the more convincing ones I've seen in a while, so let me tell you about it. So I get a phone call and caller ID says that it's Chase Bank. I figured, well, I do have some Chase credit cards, I better answer this. I answer the phone, they ask if I had recently started a new checking account with them. I said, no, I haven't. They read back my phone number and I say, yes, that's my phone number. Now, in hindsight, that is just caller ID doing its job, but if you're not paying attention, that can be pretty convincing. They then informed me that there were 2 transactions made using Zelle with this new bank account, one for $3,000 and one for $2,000, and they need to transfer me to Zelle so that they can cancel it. The lady on the phone provides me a couple of verification codes and then transfers me to Zelle. And keep in mind, this entire time, both the Chase and Zelle representatives don't have the "sorry, your computer has virus" accent. They have just straight up American accents. So once I'm on the line with this fake Zelle representative, he tells me that the cancellation needs to be submitted on my end and that I need to use these verification codes. And then he asks if I use Zelle, which I don't. Red flags popping up everywhere. He then asks what payment methods I do use, and this is where I realize, okay, this is probably a scam. So I let him know that I use Apple Pay just to see where he's gonna go from there. So he says, okay, open Apple Pay, and you're gonna go to your Apple Pay Cash, and you're going to go to the send and request payment option. He then tells me that we need to use this to send a cancellation request by typing in the total of $5,000 and hitting send, and then typing those little verification codes into the text message section. Now, if you've used any sort of payment app in the past, you'll know that the send function is for sending money, not for sending requests, it is for sending money. And the best part is the section he wanted me to type in those little verification codes is basically like if you want to pay somebody for pizza, you type pizza. So when they get the money, they know what it's for. So at this point, he's provided me a phone number to try and send this money to, but I see the scam, I call him out on it, I explain it to him. He doesn't have the self-respect to realize he's been caught, so after a little bit of arguing, I tell him he needs to go give fellatio to the spikiest of cactuses and swallow. I then also ignored his 20 attempts to call me back. So for your information, the way this scam works is that they spoof a Chase number, which is not actually any sort of Chase fraud number. The Chase fraud numbers, or most bank fraud numbers, are 800 numbers. This was a standard office number for a Chase bank in New York. The reason they do this is because if you start to question them, they just tell you to Google the phone number and it comes up with something that seems legitimate. So then once they have you convinced that you're a victim of identity fraud with a new account created, they transfer you to somebody else. That person then tells you that they are from the company that's going to be doing the cancellation. They tell you the cancellation process using whatever payment method possible, and when they tell you you are sending a request, what you're actually doing is sending them, in my case, potentially $5,000. And the reason they do it this way is because a payment app is basically instant. They get their money right away, they're gone, you're out that money, and you have to figure out how to get it back if you even can. A bank, on the other hand, can flag something like that as fraudulent, get you your money back right away. So be careful out there and be vigilant.